Okay, today I'm going to tell you about weighted stacker rigs. These are to be used in concert with a downrigger, and they're really great for folks like me who are either running a single downrigger or manual downriggers. So what it consists of is a carabiner on the top of a 2 to 3 foot long piece of 150-pound monofilament that I have crimped in here with loops on each end. And also on these loops, I have a large duo lock, which I attach a cannonball, 4 to 6 ounces. I got a bead down here just to help deflect weeds off of this. And then I've got a Scotty mini clip, since I'm going to be using this primarily for trout and kokanee. And what this lets me do is a couple things. Obviously, from the name, a weighted stacker rig, it allows me to stack multiple lines on a single downrigger line. So, I've got this rod already deployed on the downrigger ball itself with a clip on off the ball. But now what I can do is I can actually take my second rod, I can clip this carabiner into the cable, and then I can slowly let this down to however many feet, which is why it's nice to have line counters for this situation. I can let it down to 60 feet while that one's fishing at 100 feet, and I can stack multiple rods on the same downrigger. What's even better about this system is that if I get a fish, even if I'm running one of these on the bottom and one of these in the middle of the water column, once the fish lets go, this just slides down to the bottom, and I have many of these ready to go. So I do not have to bring my downrigger ball back up every time. I can have a half dozen of these on hand. I can take advantage of a school of fish by continually dropping these weighted stacker rigs on top of them, going back through them. I don't have to crank up my ball every time. And I'm fishing 100 feet deep today. It's a lot of work and time to bring up that downrigger ball and reclip in. This allows me to eliminate that step. I can just clip back in and drop my gear back down. Even better about this is that if you run a little bit lighter, like a 4-ounce one, you can actually adjust your depth on the fly. So if you see some fish, you say you're fishing at 110 feet, you got it down there, and you see some fish at 60, you can reel this up. It'll slide back up the line on that carabiner. So I'll show you how I deploy this just real quick. Take your normal rod, do your normal setback that you would normally do, so 40, 50 feet, whatever you do. Okay, then you're going to take your weighted stacker rig and you're going to go ahead and put your clip in. Now the reason we make them 2 to 3 feet long is it just makes it so much easier for you to detect the bite, because that's more slack. The fish can pull up and snap on that slack. That'll let you see that bite on your rod a lot easier. Now it's as simple as me reaching over and clipping in my carabiner into that line. And then I'm just going to slowly let line down. So if I had 40 feet on my line counter and I want to go down to 60 feet, I'll just go till it says 100. And that'll take me 60 feet down that line. And I'll put my rod in my rod holder. And there we go. I've got multiple rods stacked on the same downrigger line. So this one's down at 100 feet, this one's at 60. And if I get a fish on this one, it'll just unclip and slide to the bottom, and then I can just grab this one, clip it back in, clip this to the downrigger, drop it back down, and I'm back fishing again. Okay, so let's go over the build components for our weighted stacker rigs. First, you need 150-pound monofilament. There's these cool kits on Amazon that I'll put a link to that includes enough 150-pound monofilament and crimps to make over a dozen of these. And it's not that much money. I think it's just around 15 or 20 bucks. So get one of these kits, some small aluminum or stainless steel carabiners. You'll need an assortment of 4 to 6 ounce weights that you can clip in. Typically I'm going to run 4. I've tried up to 6, but 4 seems to work for me. I get a good clean release with 4. If you're having problems getting a release because maybe you're not using the same releases that I am, then you can go up in weight. Also, this helps with smaller fish. Then here you need some kind of release. Depending on the size of fish that you're fishing, you may opt to use a bigger release. I'm just using the Scotty minis because those are perfect for my kokanee fisheries. You'll need something to cut the monofilament, so some wire cutters on a pair of pliers is fine. You'll need something to crimp the crimps, so you need a crimper. And then you're going to need a large bead to reduce the probability that you get a bunch of moss or vegetation hung up on your release. Now the length of these can be anywhere from 12 to 36 inches. The longer it is, the easier it's going to be to detect the bite, because it's going to allow more slack in the line, which is going to allow for a more detectable bite on your rod tip. So, you know, that 24 to 36 inches is ideal for kokanee. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut off a little more than 24 inches of the 150-pound monofilament. It just cuts easy with the wire cutters there. Set that aside, and I'm going to get out a couple of the crimps out of this kit. Next, go ahead and get your release ready. Now, there's lots of different brands of releases out there, and each one might be a little bit different on how you choose to mount it. Whatever you do, do not try and drill out these minis to put a bigger hole in here, because it will just cause it to fail. I learned that the hard way. So then I'm going to go ahead and cut the wire right here, because I don't want to use this wire. I'm going to cut it right behind that crimp right there that's included with it. And I'm also going to cut this wire down here on this end by that large dual lock, and I'm going to need that part right there. Okay, next, go ahead and run the monofilament through that crimp. Take the loop end off of that wire loop end on your release. Slide it back through with the monofilament. There, you can tighten this up. You don't need a giant loop on the end. And there we go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and crimp that in. You want a little bit of tag in there just in case you might need it. I'm going to put this in the crimper. Go ahead and crimp that down really well a couple times. There we go. It's not going to move. So there's that end done. And then on the opposite end, we're going to repeat the same, but first we're going to put the bead on. This bead will slide down to the clip like that. Then we're going to take the other crimp, put it on, take your carabiner. We're going to add a little bit more space, or allow for a little bit more space down here than we did on the other end. And we're going to go ahead and crimp. Looks good. Then we can take our dual lock and undo it. This is the dual lock that came with the Scotties, which is kind of nice because it provides pretty much everything you need. And you're going to go ahead and run that all the way through up into the upper part of that dual lock. There you go. Go ahead and clip that in. Then you can clip in your cannonball. And that is ready to go. Here's your entire setup right there. Like I said, I'm going to put everything that I have used here below in the description. All right, so if you have any questions about the build or deploying these things, just let me know in the comments section below and I'll get back to you. They are definitely not my invention. I'm not taking credit for these at all. But I just wanted to be able to share with you how cool these things are. It really does make your life a lot easier. You know, there's other products out there like the Shuttle Hawk and stuff, which run up and down your Downrigger cable. But I've never had a lot of confidence in those and knowing exactly where they end up. Whereas with this, I know exactly where it ends up. So I feel pretty good about it. All right, I'll see you next time out on the water. Just remember, fish smarter, not harder. Bye, guys.